Hello everybody and welcome to RYKEN Supports. Today we have the great pleasure of talking to a very good friend of mine. He goes by the name of Iain Peterkin. If you guessed, it is the guy sitting in this chair right here to the left of me. So Iain, for those who know him, would know that he is quite a unique fellow, if I can put it that way. He has an uncanny ability to run very far while doing it very fast as well. So through that he displays certain abilities that many of us aspire to, but which is also super difficult to attain. So Iain, thank you very much for joining us. We are very curious to hear what your secrets are for your endurance and also what tips you can give us on pain tolerance, which I think goes hand in hand with the sport that you actually participate in. Iain is a long distance runner, and that is predominantly what our discussion will be about. So Iain, I mentioned in the intro that we are good friends. However, I just realized I don't know much of your history, your personal history. So just for the sake of our viewers and myself, could you just tell us a bit about yourself? Just a brief history, personal history.
Peter, first of all, thanks for having me. The sport is absolutely a passion, and if I can awaken that passion in anyone, with a little bit of guidance or just a bit of insight, it is only a pleasure to do so. History-wise, I think I've always been over-eager, just really in love with the sport. I wouldn't really call myself talented. From a personal perspective, I never made any athletics teams in school.
That's interesting.
And I just never stopped. I never did it because of competition. I did it because it's an all-out love, a passion for me. And somewhere along the line, I got better.
Keeping in mind that you did not really participate in sports at school, did you take part in any sports?
In school, I did RYKEN.
What is that exactly?
Don't ask.
Do you throw something or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't get your heart rate over 100 ever.
Is it an Olympic sport?
Definitely not. It's a provincial sport and a national sport, but
oh really?
I don't think it stretches beyond South Africa.
Okay. Yeah.
So chess, RYKEN, a bit of rugby, just because everyone else was doing it. But once again, like I said, over-eager. If there's something to be done, I wanted to be part of it. Any sport, really.
It sounds like any activity for that matter.
Yeah, I was in boarding school, so
I see.
it's always something going on.
Okay.
Volleyball, a lot of volleyball.
Are you of the opinion that abilities can be attained and developed?
Definitely. One of the big projects I'm busy with at the moment is actually getting a coaching business up and running. And I've seen great results just by adding the correct structure of work to do. So a lot of running, especially, and I think a lot of sport is just putting in the work. It is purely just putting the hours in and not focusing on today or this week or next week, but focusing on the bigger picture of basically training to be able to train better, and eventually everything just falls into place and you look back over the last week and month and years training and you go, okay, I'm a completely different person than I was last year this time.
Yeah. So something I would like to go in a bit later is, besides the physical, like you mentioned now, you become a different person. So besides the physical changes that you go through, I suppose there's also certain mental capacities that get developed or something like that. But just before we get to that, I just want to find out, how did you get involved in running? How did that happen?
I've always just loved it. So
Okay.
I always just ran no matter what. Just
Okay.
not competition based or training, but it's just I loved running.
I see.
Never made the athletics team in school.
Even the long distance stuff.
Well, long distance is relative. So long distance in school was 4 kilometers, 6 kilometers. Where long distance now I've gone up to 160 kilometers.
Yeah.
So when I was in matric, I did my first triathlon, and that consumed a lot of me for a very long time. And quite recently, time availability became a little bit less, and I had to choose a sport to carry on, throw myself into.
To progress a bit better.
Yeah. Realistically, at the moment, I can't train 20 hours, 24 hours a week like I used to with triathlon.
That is a lot.
It is a lot.
So just for the viewers, how do you fit in those? Because you are a professional person in your normal life, if I can put it that way.
Yes, I do have a full-time corporate job. I think we call it corporate. So most days in the office I wear a button-up shirt and tie. And friends that know me from sport don't recognize me in work clothes. They every single time it's like,
they don't know your name.
Who is this person in the tie?
So do you like develop a different accent when you put on those clothes? Oh, the same. That's so disappointing.
My vocabulary changes, so
yeah,
it's a lot more professional.
True. But I must say, because I know you as a person, you are quite polite. I must say.
Thank you.
I'm a little bit disappointed I wanted to ask, as you saw progress in your running, did that sort of develop your passion for the sport? But it just seems like you enjoyed running, I'm unsure what the reason is. It's just, do you have any idea where the passion came from?
No idea, it's just always been there. Running has never disappointed me. I've never gone, I should not have done that run. So actually quite recently, this whole week has actually just been a horrible training week. Every run I just finish and I was like, this wasn't a good run. But I don't regret doing it. I'm in love with the process, just getting the training done and seeing the numbers add up.
Yeah.
And knowing that 6 years ago that was my personal best time, and now it was a training session. And once again, I use the term personal best because everyone has a personal best. Not everyone can compete at the top level, but you can go out and you can improve your own personal best.
Yeah. Is it important to measure yourself against others and their ability? If we could take running as an example, but also sort of as a metaphor for other, let's call it challenges that we face?
Yes and no. So I get my best results by focusing on my process, but also Roger Bannister ran the first sub 4 minute mile, and it took him, I think, 3 years of trying and failing to get it done, and within 6 months 6 other people had done it.
Yeah.
So he broke that barrier down for everyone else. Everyone else then realized, okay, this is possible. I have to expect more from myself.
Yeah.
So go, yes, it's possible, but also go and focus on what you need to do to attain that.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a like I said, a yes and no.
No, that makes complete sense. So we basically, how can I put it? We use each other to show each other
yes.
what is possible,
Mm.
and it gives everybody just something to aspire to and know it is attainable. But
It is there, yes.
in the same sense, I think for lots of people, I mean, you enjoy the sport of running. Many other people enjoy other things that they want to do, but obviously you've got talent to a certain extent. There's, in my humble opinion, there's definitely people, including myself, that will not be able to catch you. Iain, another thing that I find fascinating, and I think lots of people struggle with, is, you know, obviously there's a lot of pain and self-motivation involved in what you do. Bearing in mind that you are living out this thing that you really, sort of that passion that you have. I think lots of people struggle to find that passion. So yeah, there's two things I want to touch on. The first thing is, do you have any advice for people who, you know, struggle to find their passion? Because I mean, it's a term that, you know, gets thrown around so often. You know, just follow your passion and do what you love and all that kind of stuff. But many people, you know, in my opinion, don't know what they love. Do you have any advice for that? Is it something you have considered?
I do see a lot of people that I can't put my finger on what their passion could be. And for me, my passion has to a very large extent become all-consuming. I've never in my life owned a TV because I can't see myself finding time to sit down and watching a TV show. If I've got free time, I'm either running, reading about running, thinking about running, or speaking to somebody about running, or working out programs for athletes that I coach to see them run better. So that is, like I said, all-consuming, and it fills my daydreams. And there's a lot of people that I come across that I don't think they have that. And I can't see the point of being here if you don't have that.
Obviously, all of us are unique, and what's the point if you're not using your unique abilities?
Exactly.
So,
but also passion comes in many different forms. Just like your incredible artwork here,
which was done by somebody else.
I could never do this. I've tried, I've failed.
You had to paint the wall again.
I had to go, okay, so this is not me.
Did you throw like a mini tantrum and kick a paint can? Not? Oh, okay.
No, I accept the defeat.
I see. The finding your passion still remains a bit of a mystery. What I want to ask you is, perhaps, you know, people might consider running such a, let's call it a basic thing, and it seems like you've done it obviously for a few years now, and I get the impression that you still learn a lot of new things with regards to the sport. Is that correct?
Every day, every week is a learning curve, and once again, that's what I said. I've got a lot of friends that run. Obviously, you attract the kind of people you attract the kind of person you are, and hours and hours of conversation, and you pick up bits of advice from them, and you implement it on, because what works for one person doesn't work for another person. You piece together a puzzle, basically.
Yeah.
And you get what works and you get what doesn't work, and you never stop learning. Really, if you stop learning, you should be the best, and I'm far from the best, so I'm not done learning just yet.
Yeah. Well, in my personal and humble, ignorant opinion, we are so complex as humans. I'm not sure if we will be able to reach our full potential. I mean, obviously a great thing to aspire to become as good as you can, which is something that
I do think, sorry to interrupt, I do think it's a great catch-22 is that you will never reach your full potential, but you can attain so much by aspiring to that.
yeah.
You're never going to be perfect, but you can be really great if you aspire to be perfect.
Just closing off this specific topic, don't you think the fact that you sort of, really involve yourself in learning and getting to know more of the sport, a more comprehensive information about everything, helps build that passion that you have for running?
Once again, it's that catch-22 of, would I have been that interested in learning about it had I not been that passionate? But does my passion grow with every bit more that I learn? So it does complement each other. Yes, I am interested in it, so I want to learn more, and as I learn more,
you become better.
I learn that there's still a hell of a lot to learn, and it just fuels that hunger.
Yeah.
Continuously.
Because obviously we are all about personal development and all of that, and I just love what you say now, because it's not just about the physical ability, because the mental capacity complements the physical ability and sort of vice versa, because the physical progress that you see also again motivates you to go back to your mental capacity again and start building on that.
Definitely. A great revelation over the last few years has been confidence. I personally find stress very debilitating, and in my earlier years of competition I would be stressed when I get to the start of a big race, and in the last few years I know that success isn't final. You have to, if I win a race or lose it, Monday I'm back at work. I'm not gonna win a race or lose a race and then go, okay, this has been enough now.
Yeah.
So it's back to work directly afterwards. You have your little bit of a celebration and go, yes, this was amazing. But if you want continuity, you have to work towards it again.
So is there specific we're still going to get back to the second part of the but any case, so is there a specific perspective that you have with regards to failing, if we could call it failure, or having a rough or difficult day, or it didn't go as you planned? Because I mean, just deciding to move on, it's just, does it have no effect on you? How do you deal with that so positively?
So 2 years ago, I had a really good sporting year, and just had a great season where nothing really went wrong. Everything went as planned. Going into the next season, I had entered a 100-kilometer trail run, and I decided to just experiment with my training, do a lot more speed work and cut down on distance, and I failed horribly at the 100-kilometer race that I did. On race day, I was comfortably in the lead for the first 50 kilometers, and then my body just shut down.
Wheels came off.
Wheels came off. I had to hike for 4Ks before anybody caught me. So I was fast. I was definitely fast. I just didn't have the endurance, and I didn't spend too much time being sad about it. Obviously, it didn't go according to plan, but it told me what I wanted to know. It gave me the kind of blueprint for what works, what doesn't work, And then I adjusted my training coming out of that.
Okay.
So that's basically there are lessons in failures. So you can either be sad about your failure or you can learn from it.
And I mean that's obviously something that a lot of us have to deal with. You have commitment for a long period and something doesn't work out. So I suppose that could easily end somebody's passion for something. That is something that I suppose that could happen.
But I mean, once again, in that I was purely measuring me against me. And I think a lot of people disregard the work other people put in and feel kind of, they think less of themselves because a certain person beat them. And don't think of the fact that that person put in as much, if not more, hard work than they did.
Yeah,
and in that sense, I don't think you should compare yourself to anyone else. Don't disregard the process and the work that other people put in to be able to be that step ahead of you.
Yeah, it's almost, I think we've come to a point where, you know, if you think that you're not going to fail or have a bad experience, you're super naive. I mean, it's a natural part of the process.
Definitely.
You have to, it's part of the process. You just have to go through it, like you say, learn from it. Try not to make the exact same mistakes, and, you know, next time things will hopefully go better.
Exactly, yes.
Something that goes hand in hand with endurance sport. I've also got some experience in it, long distance stuff. So pain tolerance, how do you deal with that? It's just being in a zone of discomfort. What in the sporting world they talk about the hurt box, but that is where you really go into the red zone. But just dealing with discomfort, Ian, and again, that represents so many things in our lives. What is your advice for people, or what do you do to deal with that discomfort?
I think you get used to it. I think that the tolerance just completely shifts.
Yeah.
Your perception of pain just changes eventually, and it becomes a bit of a home ground, if I can call it that. It's okay, this is hurting now, but I've been here so many times before, and I know I can take this for 2 hours or 3 hours on end, and it's just fine.
Something that is interesting to me is the fact that, you know, obviously with like long distance training and all of that, there's a lot of monotony in that, and you have to sort of just keep focus for very long periods of time. But something that is fascinating to me is the difference and also the similarities between the physical activity and, again, going to the mental, you know, the work side of it. So obviously it's in principle exactly the same thing. It's endurance, tolerance, all those type of things. But again, in essence, somebody who can run fast can't necessarily, or run for a long period of time, can't necessarily sit down for a long period of time and concentrate. I mean, that's just because, you know, for some reason, but I suppose that's just the physiology of our bodies. I just don't know enough about that.
I definitely I can't sit still, and my concentration is like airtime. If I speak to 2 people, it's gone.
I see.
So my attention span is very short, and it's something, once again, that I need to work on every single day. Every time I think I've got it more or less figured out, a curveball comes along, and it's like, no, you back to square one. So getting out and doing the training in terms of running comes naturally. I don't need to motivate myself anymore. But I need to sit and talk to myself so often just to get myself to sit down and study.
You're also busy with a degree at the moment.
I am, yes.
That is a lot on your plate.
Sucker for punishment.
Yeah, it seems like it. Iain, you mentioned that you have a coaching business, is that right?
Yes, I do.
It's personal bests coaching, if I'm not mistaken.
PB coaching, yes.
PB coaching.
So it actually originated, quite interestingly, one of my close friends was running and, well, was running, who's also a runner, and it just frustrated me to see him perform at much lower than his ability.
Who's that friend, Iain? No, I'm just kidding.
Um,
Who's that friend you're saying is slow?
He's definitely not slow.
No, it's just a joke.
So, but he was performing way under his capability.
Mm-hmm.
He was entered for Comrades, and 6 weeks out from Comrades, you don't change your training. So I told him, listen, once you're done with Comrades, take a week off. I want to coach you for 12 weeks. Because you are capable of so much more than you're doing at this moment. He agreed to it, and it's been more than a year later, and he's just gone from strength to strength, and it's been amazing to see him still not at his full potential, but doing better than he's ever done before. And from that, I actually got approached by quite a few people to coach them. So I accidentally started a coaching business. But I do think it's something that I pour heart and soul, passion into, and it does not feel like work ever.
That's great. From a coaching perspective, and just going back to that little throwing credibility around a little bit, and it's always nice to say, a guy can do 200 push-ups and all of that. So you can just, for the people who know running times, I wish we could just show you what it means or what it looks like in real life. Could you just give us your own PBs, 10, 21 and a 42? And you ran the Comrades.
Yes, I did the Comrades once.
Was that up or down?
Down run, so okay. The easy one. Okay, so let's start at 10 kilometers. I'm at a 33:07 10 kilometer.
33 minutes.
Yes, and 7 seconds.
I see. That is relevant.
The seconds matter, yes.
Yeah, they do, especially at that pace. So, anybody, please go and see how far you can run in 33 minutes, and then you compare it with Iain, who does 10Ks in that time.
21. I haven't really raced a 21 in a long time. That's 1 hour, 13 minutes and 56 seconds.
That's just incredible. Yes, yeah, that's incredible.
Marathon, I'm at a 2 hour, 40 minute and 41 seconds. I'm not completely happy with that. It was a difficult route and a very hard day. We have to make excuses
for the slow time.
We have to make excuses, yes. And my Comrades was a 6 hour and 56 minutes, 0 seconds.
Nice. No wasted time there.
Yeah, so nice round number.
Did you go like chest first over the line or not?
I actually slowed down to enjoy the moment.
Yes. You almost lost a second there.
Yes. No, so I ran into the stadium and I was just in awe of everything that was going on around me. And honestly, it was my first and only Comrades, so I was basically there to benchmark and enjoy the experience. I do think it's a okay time. I got beaten by 180 people.
Out of, how many is it? 30,000 or how
many? Somewhere there.
I see. Yeah. Not bad.
No, that was okay.
That is very impressive numbers. Being a little, well, I used to run a little bit. It's just those numbers are incredible. That is impressive.
Well, to give you an idea, the 10-kilometer world record, let's call it the 10,000 meter world record, is under 27 minutes.
So you're not that far off, actually. Well, in minutes it is a long time, but I mean it's
6 minutes.
Yeah, no, I understand.
If it's a track race, I'll be lapped at least 4 times.
Yeah, yeah.
So just as a perspective, I'm not a bad runner. I would go as far as to call myself a good runner, but comparing to the best of the best, it's a massive gap.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like we said, it's about beating yourself.
Yeah, personal best, yeah.
Exactly. So that's what you are all about. And yeah, look, RYKEN Supports is not about promoting anybody or anything like that, but I suppose since you are a good runner, which is clear from the numbers, and you do help people, if there's anybody out there who would like some advice or assistance with their running, can they contact you? Are you?
Yes, I don't know. You'll probably have a link below.
Yeah, we can put in a link most definitely. Yeah. You can just basically point anywhere. I can put the link wherever.
Okay, fantastic. So
yeah, the link will be down below if you want to get on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the description will be the best place. Yeah, so if you want good advice, Iain, last fun fact, if we can put it that way, do you have any idea how far you have run in total? That would be interesting.
Yes.
I'm sort of not surprised knowing you.
No, I love numbers, not mathematically, but in terms of running, numbers don't lie. So your mind does play tricks on you, and you think, it was a horrible day and a horrible run. And you look at the numbers, and the numbers tell you, you've actually done quite well. I started very meticulously tracking my training late in 2014, and since then I've run 20,250 kilometers.
Yes. Oh, that's incredible.
It's quite an exact number.
Yeah, that's both of those are impressive. The fact that you know it and the actual number in itself is very freaking impressive. No, well done. Iain, so closing off, what is your future goals?
So I'm going to be spending quite a lot of time in the mountains for the foreseeable future, just running up and down mountains. But I do have, not really in the back of my mind, actually in the front of my mind, I really want to have a 10k PB with no threes in it.
Okay.
So I'd have to go under 30 minutes for that.
Correct.
I'm borderline about how I'd feel about 29:53.
True.
I'd like to have 0 threes in the number.
Because the milliseconds can also be a problem. I'm just saying. Sorry.
Did you have to bring that up? So no, I did set the goal of going sub 30 for a 10 kilometer. I think it's very ambitious. I don't know if I am capable of it, but I'm gonna give every single little bit that I can to try and.
Will you be posting your progress so all of us can keep you accountable to that thing and see how you're doing?
I've got a open book policy with my Strava account. Nothing's on private. Every single session gets logged. I've got nothing to hide.
Great.
So even the bad sessions are on there. I can sometimes run really slow and feel really sorry for myself. And they're on there as well.
Do you put there when you feel sorry for yourself so that you can just identify those runs? Thank you. It does help.
And once again, I think it's very important for everyone to realize that, yes, I do run some really good times, but I'm only human.
Yeah.
And it's basically years and years of just going out there and getting it done.
Yeah.
It didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And I'm not done just yet. I think there's more yet.
Yeah. I must say from the RYKEN Movement's perspective, we just love what you represent, in that you just keep on developing yourself in all different areas. You'd probably be surprised if you have to find out how many people you have actually inspired by what you are doing. It is that you actually, not to make this corny, that you actually have the courage to follow through and on that, and just, you know, despite all of the, you know, conformity around us, that you decide to follow through on what you love. So yeah, thanks again for that. And Iain, thank you so much for joining us on RYKEN Supports.
It's been an absolute pleasure being here, and it's always good seeing you.